regular meeting of Erie County Council. And if everyone would stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we would appreciate that. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is our optional prayer, and County Councilwoman Ellen Showerman would like to lead us in the optional prayer this evening. So please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. We come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help us as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct your work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm.
Thank you for that. And now, Mr. Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Clear,
Here.
Mr. Horton, Mr. Rastatter,
Here.
Mrs. Rennie,
Here.
Mrs. Showerman,
Here,
Mr. Shank,
Here.
Chairman
Mr.
Anderson.
If you want to call Councilman Horton again, he's on.
Thank you, Mr. Horton. So noted.
Thank you.
And Chairman Anderson is on. Thank you. Next, we have a hearing of the public. This week, we have two members of the public who have called and signed in to speak, and so they will be allotted 5 minutes. We also, I know, have another member of the public that called in today. They will receive 3 minutes, and then anyone else who would like to speak will receive 3 minutes as well. You can either raise your hand or raise your hand on your computer or try and send me a message in the chat. And we will try and make sure that we give everybody an opportunity who would like to speak to be able to speak. So first member of the public who had signed in is Jim Nubber. And Jim, if you want to just tell us your name and identify your municipality, and I'll begin your time then.
You're muted.
Jim, you're still muted.
You'd think after all this time with Zooms, I would get this straight. My name is Jim Newber. I'm from Erie County. I'm speaking as the business
I'm
manager.
sorry, Jim, your municipality, please, where you live.
I live on 31st and Liberty.
Okay, so City of Erie. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead, starting your time. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Jim Newber. I'm the business manager of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 56 in Erie. I represent a total of 225 journeyman electricians. The members of IBEW 56 graduate from a 5-year apprenticeship program that is registered with the state of Pennsylvania. These members work in the area with the area's NECA electrical contractors. I've been working with the Western Pennsylvania chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Associations, including Church and Murdoch, Keystone, and Newco, to establish a CPACE in Pennsylvania for the past year, and I'm excited to see it up for consideration in Erie County, where I've lived my entire life and been involved work-wise for many years. NECA contractors recognize the potential of CPACE projects to increase property values and decrease energy consumption for our commercial real estate while creating jobs for the local workforce in Western PA. This workforce would include my members who are tax-paying Erie County residents. We anticipate that energy efficiency upgrades facilitated by CPACE will improve the experience of businesses currently working in Erie County, as well as attract new tenants who are seeking out sustainable high-tech facilities. Such improvements can include high-efficiency lighting, building automation, controls, windows, plumbing, HVAC systems, and many other creative solutions to improve our commercial buildings and reduce energy consumption. One of the biggest strengths of CPACE is it's entirely market-driven and financed by private lenders, not the taxpayers. CPACE is a great business opportunity for qualified electrical contractors like Church and Murdoch, Keystone, Nuco Electric, and other specialty trades to provide jobs for the local workforce. And we are excited to see this program up and running in Erie County. Thank you very much for all of the council members and the county executive for taking the time to consider this idea. I respectfully request your support and a yes vote to establish a CPACE program in Erie County. Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, you are now muted.
Thank you, Jim. Next on our agenda, who had called in and will receive 5 minutes is Jim Bartlett. And Jim, if you could give us your full name and your municipality, and I'll begin your time then.
Okay, my name's Jeff Bartlett. I have to apologize for the screenshot here, guys. The iPad kicked my video link out. But my name's Jeff Bartlett. Municipality is Northeast Township. And I represent Keystone Electric. I'm a division manager, local union electrical contractor. We employ about 75 to 100 union electricians in the Erie area. I am also the NECA chapter rep for this area. And we have been working about the last year trying to get the CPACE in Western Pennsylvania. So I'd like to point out a couple different things. I've been in this industry about 40 years. And I see the need out there with different industries trying to get up to the energy saving end of it. A lot of them can't afford the infrastructure, and this CPACE program will help them finance this and be able to get back into the energy saving end of it. Like I said, the large strength of the CPACE is that it's definitely financed by private lenders, not the taxpayers. I also find it'll be a good business opportunity for our local contractors, our local electricians, and would just like to ask the county commissioners, the county executive to consider the idea for the CPACE program. And would like to ask for your support and the yes vote on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments today. Next on our agenda, I know he had called in earlier today. So Mike Mailer, you will have 3 minutes to speak. And if you can give us your full name and municipality, and I'll begin your time then. Please go ahead.
Okay, my name is Mike Naylor and my municipality is the city of Erie. I am just a co-editor for Erie Gay News, as well as being active with several other LGBT organizations. I just wanted to say that Erie County has had protection that includes sexual orientation and gender identity since 2002. I remember I was there when it got passed. And it is, most people think that it's such an obvious source for us, obviously something that should be present in reflected in our laws, that obviously it should exist at the federal and state level, which of course it does not. I feel very strongly that we should be passing the Equality Act, and I respectfully ask county council and our county executive to support this resolution and urge our federal legislators to sign on to this. I would like to thank Mrs. Clear and Mr. Anderson for voting for this. And I believe that that is all that I have right now. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments today. Are there any other members of the public that wish to be heard? any other members of the public that wish to be heard? And finally, any other members of the public that wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll move forward with our agenda. Um, And we will have thank you, a vote of the previous meeting minutes. Unless there's questions of members of council, we could do it as one vote. We would, so I would ask for a member of council to make a motion and a second, and we will move forward accordingly.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Moved by Councilman Rastetter to approve it both at the same time, Councilman Rastetter? For the
Yes.
16th and
Both at the
23rd?
same time,
Okay,
please.
thank you. And seconded by Councilwoman Clear. Are there any questions or comments in regards to the minutes from the regular meeting of February 16th and the special meeting of February 23rd? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, could we have a roll call vote, please?
On approval of the minutes, Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
yes,
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes,
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. Next on our agenda is reports of county officials or their designee. Mr. Sparber, does the county executive or her designee have any reports this evening?
Not tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sparber. And next on our agenda is a report from the Finance Committee. Finance Chairwoman Clear, could you please give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today, I will be presenting from the Finance Committee, which met on Thursday, February 25th, 2021. And I'm going to submit to the agenda old business item A and new business items A through H. And that concludes my
Report.
Report.
report. Thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Clear. Next on our agenda is a report from the Personnel Committee. Personnel Chairwoman Mary Rennie, do you have a report for us this evening?
yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Personnel Committee also met on Thursday, February 25th. And this evening, I am submitting item B under old business for the agenda this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Personnel Chair Rennie. Next on our agenda are any reports from members of council. And Councilwoman Ellen Showerman would like to give a report on a short report on the vaccines and immunization. Councilwoman Showerman, please go ahead.
yes. Unfortunately, when we first initiated this and started talking about it, we were quite excited. But when I looked into it and started talking to people, their excitement wasn't quite at the level that ours was at. I was advised in the beginning to hold off talking about it and encouraging people to get their vaccines because the vaccine wasn't available. And there was a great deal of difficulty getting it into the area and getting it disseminated. Some people did not even return my calls, and the ones that did felt that they had it under control and they preferred to leave it to the experts to talk about it. I did say that what we wanted to do was just encourage it, just so that people knew that it was safe and a good thing to do in our community. But again, they preferred to leave it to the experts and they felt that they had things well under control. So since then, some of us have received the vaccine. I had had both of mine before even looking into this because of the arena in which I work. And some people thought that it might even be somewhat of a publicity stunt for political gain, but I assured them that was not the case. So right now we're not going forward with anything at this point in time.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Showerman, for that report. Are there any other members of council that would like to give a report? Any other members of council that would like to give a report? Okay, seeing none, we have a number of citations this evening, and I know we have members of each individual's family who are here with us. We want to welcome you to the council meeting. It's our honor to honor your family members and your loved ones. And first on our agenda tonight is Mr. John Orengia. I believe I'm correcting that, pronouncing that correct, Mr. Shank?
Yes, sir. You got it. You got it.
Thank you. And this is a citation that Councilman Shank is bringing forward. We're going to ask the clerk to read each citation in their entirety this evening. And members of council that would like to comment certainly can, whether you would like to do that before or after the reading. Councilman Shank, that's up to you.
I'd like to say a few words now before we get
Go
into
ahead.
the nuts and bolts of all this. You know, this is something we do to say thank you to our families, our friends, our mentors, people that touch us in every direction. John Orengia was not a very tall man, but he was large in stature. He was very well respected throughout the community. If you meet one Orengia, you've met them all. They're a big family. John was a veteran. We'll get into that. I won't go very long because I know we have to read these. But what I wanted to say is I wanted to say thank you to John as a volunteer fire police officer out here in Harbor Creek. We stood many accidents, closed many roads during snowstorms. And at 90 years old, he still stood there. And one day he said to me, he goes, I have to go sit down. And I said, John, at 90 years old, you can go sit down all day long. You have served your time perfectly. So again, this is one of those ones that really touch home and very close. I've known the family. They live right around the corner from me, with high school with them. But John was a great guy, a great mentor. He loved his country. He was a veteran. He loved his community. And we're sad to see him not be able to stop over and say, John, I got this. Matter of fact, the little red light that was on his vehicle for probably 20 years is sitting over my shoulder on a shelf, because when he retired, he handed it to me and says, you're going to be the next captain with a red light. I want you to have mine. I didn't have the heart to put it on my vehicle, so it's displayed in my office. So thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, Councilman Shank. And Mr. Smith, if you could read the citation, please.
Mr. John D. Orengia, 1927 to 2021. Whereas John Orengia passed from this world on February 8th, 2021 at the age of 93 years. John was born July 2nd, 1927 to late Joseph and Marie Manning Orengia in Homer, PA. John called Erie home most of his life. Whereas John served his country as a Navyman serving in World War II, he was employed with Interstate Motor Company for 35 years, then retired from Hardinger Transfer Company in 1989. And whereas John served as a lifelong member of the Harbor Creek Fire Department and served as a captain of the fire police, he previously served as a member of the Fairfield Hose Company. John was a founding member of the Special Deputy Sheriffs and worked with them for many years. He greatly enjoyed volunteering in Harbor Creek community, especially his many years of devoted service in Township Park security. And whereas in addition to his parents, John was preceded in death by his brother, James Arangia. He is survived by his loving wife of 72 years, Arlene Gerline Arangia, one daughter, Valerie Heinrich, and husband Edward of Harbor Creek, 4 sons, David and wife Jacqueline of Harbor Creek, Dale and wife Tina of Erie, Daniel and friend Amy of Harbor Creek, Donald and wife Susan of Youngstown, Ohio, 4 sisters, Mary Lou Frock of Erie, Martha Amsden of Akron, Ohio, Margaret Spro of Pittsburgh, Sally Johnson of Waynesburg, PA, and one brother, Joseph Arangia of Mill Creek. He is further survived by 12 grandchildren, 34 great-grandchildren, 3 great-great-grandchildren, as well as many nieces and nephews. His good grace will be missed by the parishioners of North Harbor Baptist Church. And now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, join Councilman Shank in celebrating the life of John D. Arangia, a man who dedicated his life to serving his community and country. May he rest in peace, in witness whereof we have set our hands in the seal of Erie County this 3rd day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next, we have a citation for Mrs. Lois Owens. And I'm presenting this citation today. I was saddened to see that Lois had passed. Anybody that knew Lois or came anywhere near her could not help but be brought in and brought in closely to her with her smile and her friendliness, and she was just really an inspiration to people about having a spirit of living life and living it to its fullest. I had the opportunity to work with Lois on many occasions at the Erie School District with projects that I was involved with on behalf of the community. She was the secretary to the board for the Erie School District for many, many years. And she just served that body so honorably, and she will certainly be missed. I know by her husband Dick and members of their family, but by her larger family and friends in the community, particularly the Erie School District. Mr. Smith, could you read her citation for us, please?
Mrs. Lois Elaine Owens, 1937 to 2021. Whereas Lois Owens passed from this world on February 10th, 2021, at the age of 83 years. Lois was born on September 7, 1937, to the late Harvey and Neva Stafford Rathbun in Erie, Pennsylvania. And whereas Lois graduated from Academy High School in 1955. In school, she sang in the chorus, played the violin in the orchestra, and was an accomplished pianist. And whereas Lois worked as the board secretary for the Erie School District for many years, Lois sang in the choir at Bethel Baptist Church, enjoyed jazz music, and often listened to Super Soul Saturdays. She enjoyed aerobics and Zumba and had a passion for fashion and worked to raise money for several local charities. And whereas Lois' incredible kindness towards others, her sense of humor, and unending love of her family will sorely be missed. In addition to her parents, she was preceded in death by her son, Gregory Owens. She is survived by her faithful husband of 63 years, Richard Owens, her sister, Mary Alice Rathbun, daughter, Lisa Owens Vianney, and son, Craig Owens. Lois had 2 beloved grandchildren, Amanda and Jonathan Owens. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, join in celebrating the life of Lois Elaine Owens, a woman whose warmth and good nature and love for her family, friends, and community will deeply be missed. May she rest in peace. In witness whereof, we have set our hands in the seal of Erie County the 2nd day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. The next citation we have this evening is for Attorney William Scarpitti Jr. I think just about anybody who's had involvement in community service in Erie County, knew Attorney Scarpitti. Certainly, if you have been involved in politics and Democratic politics, and if anything is a testament to somebody's life, it is what their children and grandchildren do to honor them and to continue the legacy moving forward. And I know that our good friend Allison Scarpitti is with us today. Allison, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your entire family at the passing of your father. He was certainly a legend, living legend here in the Erie community. And you continue to carry that on, particularly when you're one of the last remaining people on election night, still here waiting for results to come out when everyone else has kind of disappeared and gone home. So your commitment shines through as his commitment has for many years. And Mr. Smith, could you read Attorney Scarpitti's citation for us this evening?
Attorney William F. Scarpitti Jr., 1946 to 2021. Whereas William Scarpitti Jr. passed from this world on February 17, 2021, at the age of 74 years. William was born April 12, 1946, to Dr. William F. Scarpitti and Margaret Mary O'Connell Scarpitti. And whereas William followed in faith of his grandfather, Reverend Fortunato Scarpitti, who was the founding pastor of Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. William served as an altar boy at St. Peter's Cathedral as a child. He graduated from Cathedral Prep in 1964, went on to pursue a Bachelor of Arts degree in history from Gannon College. And whereas William served in the United States Army as a medic with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam, where he was promoted to captain and awarded the Bronze Star. And whereas after returning from serving his country, William was accepted into the Dickinson School of Law, where he graduated with honors and earned his Juris Doctorate degree. William began practicing law with his uncle, attorney Richard Scarpitti, who served as his mentor. He had an avid interest in history and politics and was involved with several campaigns and with the Democratic Party in Erie. William practiced in several areas of law, but for much of his career, he was truly at home in the courtroom, enthusiastically persuading the jury to acquit his client. He was appointed by the courts as a guardian ad litem for abused and neglected children, protecting the interests of those most vulnerable. William retired from the law in 2014. Whereas William's greatest passion was that of his domestic role of husband for 35 years and father of two promising daughters, Allison and Sarah. He was involved in both his daughters' education and social interests, recitals, travels, skiing, and coaching soccer. Years later, he carried on that love and devotion as a proud grandfather to Sadie Jane. And whereas in addition to his parents, William was preceded in death by his loving wife, Susan Jean Bolitnikoff, he is survived by his daughters, Allison Scarpitti and Sarah Andrew Kavanaugh, and one granddaughter, Sadie Jane. He's also survived by many friends and family who share in the joyous memories of William's spirit. And now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, join Chairman Carl Anderson III in celebrating the life of Attorney William Scarpitti Jr., a man who embodied the ideals upon which America was founded, dedicating his life to his community, our country, and as a guiding light to his family and friends. May he rest in peace. In witness whereof, we have set our hands on the seal of Erie County, the 2nd day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next, we have a citation this evening for Mrs. Virginia Sundberg. I think anybody who was interested in education, anybody who was interested in community service and again interested in politics, this time in Republican vein, knew Ginny Sundberg or members of the family, and certainly to Kurt and Eugene and the rest of the members of the family. We send our heartfelt sympathy to you and to the members of your family. And Councilwoman Clear, would you like to say a few words as well?
Yes, I would. I have known the Sundberg family for, oh gosh, probably at least 15 years. And the Sundberg family in their entirety are some of the most giving, loving people that I have ever met in my entire life. I was so sorry to hear for the loss. And I hope you know that my heart goes out to all of you. And I just want to thank you for all you do for the community as well. And we are lucky to have Sundbergs in Erie County. I will say that because they bring so much joy to so many people. So I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And Mr. Smith, could you read the citation for us, please?
Mrs. Virginia Lee Sundberg, 1930 to 2021. Whereas Virginia Lee Ginny Sundberg met her Heavenly Father on February 15, 2021 at the age of 90 years. Ginny was born on November 27, 1930 to the late James and Florence Marsh in Erie, PA. Whereas Ginny was a graduate of Strong Vincent High School, class of 1949, she continued her education at Grove City College, where she began the Orientation Committee, was a member of Sigma Theta Chi sorority, was the Pan-Hellenic Association vice president, and was instrumental in the growth of the Buell Library. She graduated in 1953, and whereas Ginny taught math at Gridley Elementary until taking time to raise her family, she became a member of Wayside Presbyterian Church, participated in the Naomi Circle, sang in the choir, helped with Vacation Bible School, served as an elder and deacon, and was a Sunday school teacher. After 20 years as a financial bookkeeper for Dr. Jack Utley's orthodontics office, Ginny retired. And whereas Ginny's commitment to Erie County was unparalleled, devoting her time to serving on Sarah A. Reed Senior Board and the Children's Center boards from 1996 to 2011, serving as president in 2004 and 2005, and on the Finance Committee for most of her term. She was a 20-year member and past president of the Fairview Garden Club, volunteered with the Hammett AIDS Society for 20 years, and served as treasurer of the Hammett Health Foundation Board from 2001 to 2011, and was instrumental in creating the Medical Education Fund. Ginny received the Barbara F. Junker Community Service Award in 2015 for her service to the Fairview School District. And whereas Ginny was a true matriarch, balancing her active civic contributions with her true passion of supporting her family, she shared a great joy in gathering her entire family for weekly Sunday dinner, attending sporting events of her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and never missing the recognition of a friend or a family member's birthday by sending a card. Ginny was an avid reader and borrowed over 300 books from the Lincoln Community Center Library since its inception in the fall of 2009. Whereas in addition to her parents, Ginny was preceded in death by her husband, Eugene C. Sundberg Sr. in 1987, her brother-in-law, Carl Sundberg. She is survived by her 5 children and their families, Keith and Barbara Sundberg, Karen Sundberg, Eugene and Jamie Sundberg Jr., Kurt and Linda Sundberg, and Kristen and Michael Kanash, 14 great-grandchildren, or grandchildren rather, Karen Andrew Pataki, David Kylie Sundberg, Jill Matthew McGill, Kristen Aaron Taylor, Matthew Elizabeth Sundberg, Brian Elizabeth Sundberg, Catherine Sundberg, fiance Nick Jones, Michael Jessica Sundberg, Jack Sundberg, Kendall Sundberg, Nicholas Sundberg, Andrew Kanash, Thomas Kanash, and Brady Kanash. 12 great-grandchildren, Catherine, Ethan, and Colin Pataki, Leroy, Rhett, and Noel Sundberg, Madeline, Elizabeth, and Josephine McGill, Charles and Ian Taylor, and Grant Sundberg, her siblings, Linda Laura, Richie T., married to Mary Marsh, and James E. Madrith Marsh Jr. She was sister-in-law to Wilda Sundberg, Lee Janice Sundberg, and Adina Morehouse. She leaves behind several dearly loved nieces and nephews, as well as, and now therefore we the undersigned, members of Erie County Council, join in celebrating the life of Virginia Ginny Sundberg, a woman whose soulful good nature and love for her family, friends, and community will be deeply missed. May she rest in peace. In witness whereof, we have set our hands and the seal of Erie County the 2nd day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next, we have a citation for Coach Bill Flaherty. Coach Flaherty, I'm honored to be able to say, was a friend and mentor to me. And I must say that Dr. Bill Garvey once commented to me that Bill Flaherty was perhaps the second best coach in all of Erie County, of course, next to Dr. Garvey. But the two had such great respect for each other and the coaching legacies that they left to Erie County. And my children had the honor and the pleasure to also know Bill Flaherty. My daughter, Autumn, was a student of his, so he was her teacher. And my son, young Carl, Bill Flaherty was his coach and teacher. And they absolutely love Bill Flaherty. I did have an opportunity to see Coach Flaherty a couple months ago, and he was beginning to fail a little bit. Ron DiNicola and I had run into him, and he really couldn't place either one of us of exactly where he had known us. But my daughter Autumn happened to be in town, and she came into the restaurant, and Mr. Flaherty stood right up and said, "I would never forget the beautiful Autumn Anderson anywhere," and gave her a big hug. And it was just a great moment for the two of them, and our entire family wishes and sends our best to the entire Flaherty family, including Pat and his brothers and sisters. Mr. Smith, could you read his citation, please?
William J. Flaherty, Jr., 1943 to 2021. Whereas William Bill Flaherty, Jr. passed from this world on February 25, 2021 at the age of 78 years. Bill was born on January 30, 1943 to the late William and Myrtle Smith Flaherty in Erie, PA. And whereas Bill was a lifelong resident of Erie, graduating from Cathedral Preparatory School in 1960, Bill dedicated most of his professional career to educating and coaching, contributing to the development and character building of hundreds of youth he worked with over the years. And whereas Bill coached basketball for over 30 years, from grade school to high school varsity, during his 13 years as head coach of Cathedral Prep, his 1980 Ramblers team won Erie's first ever state championship. Bill was inducted into the Northwestern PA Sports Hall of Fame and the Cathedral Prep Hall of Fame in 1994. He was the founding director of Grandview and Great Lakes Camps for Boys and Girls and was co-founder of the McDonald's Charity Basketball Classic. And whereas Bill served as the esteemed coach of the Ramblers, then went on to work in consulting and accounting fields until his retirement. Throughout his career, he also served on many local, state, and regional boards. Above all, Bill valued time with his family, gardening, and traveling. Among his favorite pastimes was watching his own children and grandchildren pursue their own athletic achievements. And whereas Bill came out of retirement to teach and coach at Mercyhurst Prep and be part-time father-son team as his son, Pat Flaherty, led the Mercyhurst Prep boys basketball team, Pat, taking great mentorship from his father, has reached a 300 career winning record of his own as he now leads the Fairview Tigers. And whereas Bill is survived by his wife, Mary Ann, and his brother, Mike, married to Ruth. He was a proud father of Stephen, married to Amy, Sarah, married to Kevin, Nora, married to Ray, and Patrick, married to Natalie, and devoted grandfather of Mariah, Declan, Jane, Sarah, Henry, and Charlie. He's also survived by many nieces, nephews, and cousins. They are joined by the Rambler community family, who share in the memories of great coach and mentor. And whereas Bill shared a special relationship with so many Erie families, including that of Council Chairman Carl Anderson III, as a friend and mentor to Chairman Anderson's daughter, Autumn Anderson, and as a teacher and coach to his son, Carl Anderson IV. His spirit for living, expectation for achievement, and kindness to people will never be forgotten. And now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, join Chairman Carl Anderson III in celebrating the life of William J. Flaherty Jr., a man who stood for integrity, leadership, and heart. May he rest in peace. In witness whereof, we have set our hands and seal of Erie County the 2nd day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And finally, today, we have a citation for Corrine Adams Farina. Corrine is the aunt of our former colleague and good friend, Kathy Adams Fatika. And for Kathy, we honor her aunt, Tiny, for the love and affection that she had for her, and how she shared memories with her large family. And so we honor her today. Mr. Smith, if you could read her citation, please.
This is Corinne V. Adams Farina, 1925 to 2021. Whereas Corinne Farina departed this world on February 28, 2021, the age of 95 years. Corinne was born on May 30, 1925, to the late Roy and Ida Quinlis Adams in Erie, PA. Whereas Corinne was a graduate of Academy High School, class of 1943, and was always known as Teeny. And whereas Corinne worked as a dispatcher on the repair wheel at General Telephone Electronics Corporation, GTE, until her retirement in 1989. Whereas Corinne enjoyed bowling, dominoes, and cooking for her family, and welcoming all to the family spaghetti night. Whereas in addition to her parents, Corinne was preceded in death by her loving husband of 52 years, Andrew M. Farina, a daughter, Sue Bernardini, an infant grandson, Ryan Dudley, 4 brothers, Kenneth, Donald, John, and Edward Adams, 2 sisters, Helen Bootsy Norden, and Margaret Peggy Fitzgerald. She is survived by 3 daughters, Judy Berkowick, married to Joe of Arizona, Bonnie Bowman, married to Jeff of Erie, Cheryl Dudley, married to Richard, Texas, a son, Andrew D. Farina, married to Michelle of Erie, a sister, Sue Wiest of Erie, along with 9 grandchildren and 20 great-grandchildren. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned members of Erie County Council, join former County Councilwoman Kathy Fatika in celebrating the life of her aunt, Mrs. Corinne V. Farina, a woman whose smile lit up a room and whose heart touched all. May she rest in peace. In witness whereof, we have set our hands in the seal of Erie County the second day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Are there any members of council that would wish to make any final comments? I would just say on behalf of all of County Council, to the members of the families of those that we have read citations for this evening, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And we thank you for being with us tonight so we could honor you as we honored members of your family. So thank you for that. And with that, we will continue on our agenda for this evening. And next on our agenda is old business. Mr. Smith, could we have a reading of ordinance number 9 in title only, please?
Ordinance number 9, 2021, fifth 2021 general fund budget. Supplemental appropriation of $33,334, new line item, and waiver of bid requirements for administration of community college RACP grant.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilwoman Clear.
it's at this point that I believe we will be amending this ordinance.
Before we amend, could we ask for a motion and a second on the ordinance as presented? And then we'll have the amendment.
Right. So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilwoman Clear, seconded by Councilwoman Rennie. And then we have Councilwoman Clear would like to make a motion to amend.
Yes, Councilman, I'm sorry, Chairman Anderson, I would like to move to amend the agenda, amend the ordinance so that we are going to first add in script after the be enacted section. There will be a be it further enacted. Would you like me to read that, Councilman Anderson or Chairman Anderson?
Yes, if you could, just in the be it enacted part, after the Erie County Redevelopment Authority, changing the word as the administrator to an administrator.
That's right. Okay.
And then changing the,
And then changing
from
be it
just
further
exhibit
enacted.
A to exhibit A and B.
Okay. So the last sentence then of that be enacted, we would be changing the Erie County Redevelopment Authority as an administrator of the community college RACP grant, and they're hereby approved as outlined on the attached exhibit A, and then we're adding and B. And then afterward, we would be adding, be it further enacted that the intent of the grant funds is for the Erie County Community College, ECCC, as beneficiary to assure the autonomy and independence of the Erie County Community College Board of Trustees, the ECC-BOT. 1, the county administration will affect or cause to affect the designation of the Erie County Community College as the subgrantee of the RACP funds, especially the immediate amendment of the RACP grant application in the governor's grant office so that it reflects the ECCC as a subgrantee. 2, the ECC-BOT shall maintain the authority to select administrators, contractors, and facilitators as required to carry out the duties associated with the RACP grant, following all program guidelines. 3, promote collaboration and unity within county government by appointing the Erie County Redevelopment Authority, ECRDA, as an administrator, which will work in tandem with the ECCC, BOT, and any service providers the board chooses. 4, through additional agreement and collaboration, the ECRDA and the ECCC, BOT will work together to define the roles of each particular entity and as envisioned by the ECCC, BOT, and when needed, enter into agreements with administrators hired by the ECC-BOT. ECC-BOT will maintain full authority to determine location of the college and responsibility for site search and related college plans. In addition, I would like to also amend the page 2 of the item B. And within that item B, we would be striking out on page 2, the first paragraph under proposed compensation.
Okay, and then just for clarity, then your amendment would start with the second paragraph, which begins,
ECRDA will be compensated at 1% of the award payable in equal quarterly installments over a 36-month period or sooner if completion of the project occurs before such time.
okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor for the amendments. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
So we have a motion to amend by Councilwoman Clear, seconded by Councilwoman Showerman. Are there any questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote on the amendments?
On the amendments to ordinance 9, Mr. Horton,
No.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
No.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes,
Mr. Shank,
You're muted, Mr. Shank.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson,
Yes. Mr. Smith, are there any questions or comments from members of council on ordinance number 9 as amended? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call, please, as amended on ordinance number 9?
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
yes,
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson,
Yes. Thank you. Next on our agenda for old business is a second reading of ordinance number 12. Mr. Smith, if we could have that in title only, please.
second reading of ordinance 12, 2021, 2021 library fund budget, revised expenditures of $2,600 for elimination of part-time position and creation of full-time position.
so moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilwoman Clear. Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 12, Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes,
Mr. Shank,
No.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson,
Yes. Next on our agenda tonight is items under new business.
Mr. Chairman, can I please speak?
Yes, Councilwoman Clear.
I would like to amend the agenda. I would like to, I move to move the items B, C, D, and E to a second read. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a motion to amend the agenda to move items to a second reading.
Second.
We have the motion by Councilwoman Clear, seconded by Councilman Horton. Are there any questions or comments of members of council to amend the agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
On the motion to amend the agenda to move items B, D, C, and E to second reading, Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
yes,
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. May we now have a second reading of ordinance number 14 in title only? Oh, I'm sorry, we kept A as a first reading. My apologies. May we have a first reading of ordinance number 14 in title only?
A first reading of ordinance number 14, 2021, 2021 Public Health Fund budget revised expenditures of $12,020 for temporary increase in wages and hours for Acting Director of Public Health.
Thank you. Now may we have a second reading of ordinance number 15 in title only?
A second reading of ordinance 15, 2021, second 2021 Public Health Fund budget supplemental appropriation of $15,753 to reinstate grant revenue reduced in 2021 budget process.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilman Horton. Are there any questions or comments by members of council? Mr. Horton, go ahead, please.
Yeah, comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'll be brief. At budget time, we really took all the measures we could to try to balance the budget. And this came up and we had a bunch of discussion on it. And at that time, we went ahead and we decreased some of those grant allocations. I went on record then, and I'll go on record now as saying that it's never a good idea to turn back or send back grant money for obvious reasons. So I'm very, very pleased to see that this is on the agenda and that we're going to write something that we perhaps shouldn't have done in the first place. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Horton. Any other comments from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, could we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 15, Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
yes,
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. And just for members of the public who are with us, council, when we have an ordinance, we do 2 readings. Many times we will agree to move an ordinance to a second reading, as we've done on some items tonight. And most of the time, those are for the purposes of revenues coming in. So to expedite those matters, we move them to a second reading. Otherwise, if there's questions or concerns from members of council, we read them, leave them at a first reading, and have time to discuss or make changes as appropriate. And with resolutions, we have 1 reading, the meeting that they are presented. And tonight, we have amended the agenda a couple of times. So I just wanted to point that out to folks so you understand what it is that council is doing. Many times by the time we get to the meeting through our finance and personnel meetings and caucus, council members have pretty much already agreed or are prepared to vote on these items. And so that's why we are continuing to move along with them tonight. And thank you for indulging us in that. Mr. Smith, could we have a second reading of ordinance number 16 in title only?
Second reading of ordinance number 16, 2021. Third 2021 Public Health Fund budget. Supplemental appropriation of $343,795 for creation of the ELC CARES COVID-19 Funds Department.
So move.
Second,
We have a motion by Councilman Horton, seconded by Councilwoman Clear. Are there any comments or questions from members of council?
Comment.
Councilman Horton, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Anderson. Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity once again to thank Director Lyons and Ms. Nurse Behringer and the entire health department. They've done a tremendous job. We didn't get a lot of guidance from the state, and so, but I would put our health department right up there with anyone's. Prior to coming to the meeting this afternoon, I actually met with Dr. Clark and representatives from UPMC Hammond, and they railed on and on about how great our health department is. And so I thought I'd take this opportunity to publicly say it and get it stated on the record. Once again, we owe the Erie County Health Department Director Lyons and our entire staff a huge debt of gratitude, and we're blessed to have fortunate evening. Thank you, Chairman Anderson.
Thank you for those comments, Councilman Horton. Are there any other questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 16, Mrs. Clear,
yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Schenk,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Mr. Smith, may we have a second reading of ordinance number 17 in title only?
The second reading of ordinance number 17, 2021, 2021 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $3,055,038, and new department for COVID-19 hospitality industry recovery program.
Mr. Smith, actually, if I could ask you just to continue to read this. This is an important item on our agenda tonight. Just read the final description that's on the agenda. I think that would be appropriate to continue on with that.
Erie County was awarded grant funds to be distributed to eligible business as defined in Act 1 of 2021 to alleviate revenue losses and pay eligible operating expenses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Administrator of funds, the Erie County Redevelopment Authority was named on February 23rd. Applications will be processed and the block grant funds will be dispersed until exhausted or until June 15, 2021, whichever occurs first.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. May I have a motion?
So move.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilman Horton. Any questions or comments from members of council? Councilwoman Clear, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chairman Anderson. I would just like to say how excited I am for this to get going. And I want to publicly also thank the Redevelopment Authority for organizing this. They did such an excellent job with the CARES Act money. We were able to help so many businesses, nonprofits, municipalities, and I feel like this is just an extension of that. This $3 million will be able to help all of those businesses that have really been in dire straits, and some of them are barely hanging on. So I'm excited for this to get going. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman Schenk?
Thank you, sir. Kim, you beat me to the punchline on that one. So great minds think alike. But I just wanted to say this is one of those things that I'm really proud that we can hang our hat on. The hospitality folks, they've been hanging in there and they've been struggling hard. And anytime we can get our tax dollars into the businesses locally, that makes it a better place and holds them on. We don't want to break that 28%. You know, I keep hearing that we're climbing closer and closer. So, you know, in the fire department, we put the wet stuff on the red stuff. On council, we can put the green stuff on the businesses, and hopefully we can save these guys. I yield back, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shank. Any other members of council? I just want to make a couple final comments then, and certainly congratulate the members of council and the administration for the work that's being put forward in being able to bring some relief to small businesses in our community. You know, we, for whatever reason, the state has decided to define the way in which these business grants are being presented in a very narrow, very narrow window of how they can be distributed. Fortunately for Erie County, the Redevelopment Authority has stepped forward and ensured that we had a CDFI, an active and operating CDFI locally to be able to use these funds through that means. The only other CDFI we have locally is through the Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority. And we thank their board and Perry Wood for having Bridgeway Capital here. Bridgeway is headquartered in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, with offices in Erie County, and they have a large portion of the state. So we're not available or interested in helping with these funds. And the Redevelopment Authority stepped forward with the tools that they have in place to be able to provide this much needed service. And we certainly applaud them for that and appreciate them. And we're counting on them, as we know many hundreds of businesses are, to get these funds out on the street where they can do some good. You know, we've talked many times that the first go around, we felt Erie County did not get its fair share. We probably received less than $1.5 million from this small business grant program. This time with just over 3 million, it's much more in the area that can have an impact and make a difference. So we certainly appreciate their work and their continued efforts and look forward to working with them as we continue through this pandemic process. Mr. Smith, with that, can we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 17, Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Smith. And now may we have a second reading of ordinance number 18 in title only.
Second reading of ordinance number 18, 2021. An ordinance of the County of Erie, Pennsylvania, the county, authorizing and directing the execution and delivery of a guarantee agreement for the benefit of Pleasant Ridge Manor, Pleasant Ridge, and compliance with the provisions thereof, and incurring non-electoral debt thereby, approving a $700,000 letter of credit agreement from Pleasant Ridge to First National Bank of Pennsylvania, directing the proper officers of the county to take necessary actions and repealing all inconsistent ordinances.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Clear, seconded by Councilman Shank. Are there any questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 18, Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Mr. Smith, may we have a first reading of ordinance number 19 in title only, please?
A first reading of ordinance 19, 2021, 7th, 2021 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $149,228 and new department for PCCD COVID relief grant.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, may we have a reading of resolution number 7 in title only, please?
Resolution number 7, 2021, a resolution establishing a property assessed clean energy program in the county of Erie and taking and authorizing other action in connection therewith.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Clear, seconded by Councilman Horton. Are there any questions or comments from members of council? Councilwoman Rennie.
Thank you. I want to go on the record as saying that I am enthused and excited about this project, this process, I should say, the commercial property assessed clean energy. There's a lot of promise in it, and it's in many different venues, whether it's improved building values, property values, energy efficiency, local jobs, more jobs, and so forth. It comes with a great number of benefits. I have only one issue with the resolution, and that is the final portion, which makes county council the final approver in the process, which I think is largely a harmless action. At least I hope that it is. However, I do think that it's unorthodox and unnecessary. I hope that no problems come as a result of it. However, as I said, it is a postscript to the resolution. And on the whole, I am very enthused about that resolution. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rennie. And Councilman Horton, you had some comments?
Yes, I too am equally enthused about Resolute passing the opportunity to adopt resolution number 7. We talk about clean energy a lot around here, and we talk about climate change. We talk about infrastructure. We talk about.
Mr. Horton, you just went on mute. Mr. Horton. Mr. Horton, you just went on mute. Mr. Horton, you just went on mute.
I was muted.
Yeah, somehow you just went on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead again.
Yeah, resolution number 7. I'm excited and enthused, equally as enthused about it. I'm excited because it won't come at a cost to the taxpayers. We talk about climate change. We talk about the need to go green. Talk about infrastructure. We talk about blight and how to combat it. And this resolution that we're supporting, probably the biggest thing about it is that the lien or the responsibility stays with the building. So whoever comes in will still be subject to this resolution. I think what Mary said, she said a lot of what I was going to say. So I echo her sentiments. I'm glad that we're able to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Horton. And Councilman Shank, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You know, anytime that we can do anything on the county level to assure that we're going to bring new jobs, we're going to bring folks in the trades. I know I'm a little biased. My son is an electrician, so I know that he loves his job. He's very happy what he does. So anytime I can see the tradesmen getting more work, and it's a win-win-win-win for everybody. We're cutting energy down. I know when the tax credits came available to insulate my house, I had a local contractor come in and do all that crazy spray foam, and my attic looks like a moon. But you know, I know energy is really a big deal right now, and we have to conserve it. I've done everything in my house to make it as energy efficient, so there's no reason why we can't help our local businesses do the same thing. So I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shank. Any other members of council? Councilwoman Clear.
I'm just going to say ditto to what everyone said. I don't want to take everyone's time. Totally excited about this. This is like a great day. We have a lot of cool stuff today. All right, I'm done. I mean, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Clear. Any other members of council? Okay, then I too, I'm not going to repeat what the other members of council said, because I too am excited. I think this is a progressive opportunity for us to show the community how there are other ways of gaining revenue and gaining tax base and doing that in a very efficient manner. I would now say to all of the people who have been working on this project, I really don't think that there was ever a doubt that council supported your efforts and what you were doing. But as council usually does, it is our fiscal responsibility and our accountability to make sure that everything that we're voting on conforms with the laws of Erie County and really is a benefit to the taxpayers of Erie County. So my hat goes off to our solicitor, Tom Tallarico, for the work that he's done, to our financial advisor, Amy Schwartzfeger, for the work that she's undertaken, and to Lynn Armel and all of the staff of the planning department. I know that there may have been times that you felt, does council really get what we're trying to do here? And trust me, I think that we did, but we needed to do our due diligence, which is the culmination of what I think is great work being brought forward tonight. And with that said, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On resolution 7, Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
He just disappeared right off the screen.
Chairman Anderson,
Wait a minute, he just came back from a different direction.
My Wi-Fi.
We thought maybe there was some magic going on out there in Edinburgh, Scott.
Oof. Am I supposed to say yes? Yes. Yes,
if you're in favor of it, sir.
I sure am. I'm all behind it.
Chairman Anderson,
Yes, thank you. Next on our agenda is resolution number 8 of 2021. Mr. Smith, if you could read that in title only, please.
resolution number 8, 2021, joining together in unity with compassion, fairness, justice, and equality as the basis for our democratic form of government, and with the protection of all civil rights, we urge Congress to enact the Inequity Act swiftly into law.
So moved.
Second,
We have the resolution moved by Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilman Horton. Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Councilwoman Clear.
I'm sorry, I was talking so much this meeting. I guess I don't know how much you guys know about my role as I'm a teacher at McDowell High School, and I am also the advisor for the Gay Straight Alliance. And the students that I have that will come into my room and need a place to feel safe and accepted means so much to me. I am so proud to be able to pass a resolution like this that urges our state and federal officials to act on what equality looks like, to actually describe what equality is supposed to be here in the United States. And we're all a work in progress. And I think that we are all learning. And I am so proud to be able to tell my students that we were a part of something that was going to maybe have others look at all of us and think that we're all different and different is okay. Thank you, Chairman Horton, or Chairman Anderson. I can't talk today.
Thank you, Councilwoman Clear. Councilman Shank.
Thank you, sir. I can't come on here and say I'm an expert in this area, but because of what I've learned from my fellow councilmen and women, I feel pretty confident in this. I know this is a big deal on the stage up on the Hill. So when we say we the people in a very important document, I mean we the people. So again, I'm not an expert in this area, but I've learned a lot. I've tried to read as much as I can and come up to speed. And I take the Constitution very, very serious. So when we say we the people, I mean we the people. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shank. Any other members of council? Councilman Horton?
make sure I'm not muted.
You're good.
Thank you, Chairman Anderson. I'm really, really proud of my colleagues and Chairman Clear for bringing this forward. Here at Erie County, we've always been as far as civil rights, equal rights. We've always put it on the books. We were the first, I believe, in the state to provide or to carry the LGBTQ as a protected class. We were also the first to do it, I think, with your criminal pass. I know all too well what equality doesn't look like. And so I am enthusiastic about asking our state and our federal government officials to support this legislation, particularly at a time like right now in our nation's discourse. It's a time when the Constitution should work for everyone. And we know that doesn't always happen. So anytime we have an opportunity to move the agenda or move the line to that happening, I'm excited about supporting it. So thank you for bringing this.
Thank you, Councilman Horton. Any other members of council? I will just make a few comments then. As I look back at all of you, my colleagues on council, individually, we represent 7 different districts, 7 different makeups of all of Erie County, but collectively, we represent the entirety of all of Erie County. And when we come together and work together and collaborate for the best of all of Erie County, I can't help but be proud of the work that we're all doing, the work that's been done before us and the work that we hope will be done after us. As Mr. Horton said, Erie County Council was the first to step forward in 2002 to pass any kind of legislation or ask for any kind of legislation. And most recently, the mayor of the city of Erie, Mayor Schember, has been the driving force in moving this forward. So we, at this point, are proud to join in with him and his LGBTQ organization that he put together and commission that has worked tirelessly to promote and to seek out support for the Equality Act. And so this resolution not only supports the mayor and his team, but we went one step further and honored them in this document, which everyone can read as the second to last whereas. So I don't want to mention all of that, all of the people involved, but as members of our community, we're honored to be able to honor you by moving this resolution forward tonight and seeking out support from our state and federal elected officials to continue moving forward the legislation to pass the Equality Act. And Mr. Horton, did you have another comment?
Yeah, I did. I would be remiss if I didn't comment to Mr. Mahler, Mike Mahler. I want to thank him personally for educating me over the years and allowing me to be an advocate for the LGBT community. And I know that these type resolutions, these type things don't happen without advocacy. And so the LGBTQ Alliance have been staunch advocates. They're much needed. I can look forward to continuing to work with you to make things more equitable for everyone. So thank you, Mr. Mahler.
Thank you for that, Councilman Horton. And with that said, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On resolution number 8, Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson,
Yes. To Jill and Nicole and Doug, thank you for the work that you do for us each and every day, and particularly at the meeting times. You get us through it and you make us look really good. So we appreciate that each and every day, and just wanted to give you a shout out today. With that ordinance, our next Finance and Personnel meeting will occur on March 11th at 4 p.m. Via Zoom conference. And the next regular council meeting will occur on March 16th at 4 p.m. Via Zoom. So are there any other comments or discussion to be brought before council? If not, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks,
Council.
Peace out. Be safe, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
everyone.
Council is adjourned.